Hi guys, Jasmine here. In this video, I'm going to be responding to the questions that I got in my previous video. So I asked you guys to leave a few questions underneath that video and I was going to respond to them. So yeah, I'm going to make a video to answer those questions. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. I'm a practicing social worker and I share my experiences here on my channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you're interested. Let's get right into it. Alright, so pardon me if I keep looking down. This might actually be longer than I'm hoping for it to be because there is a few questions. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm just going to be reading off my phone. So Sophia D asks, hi Jasmine, first of all I want to say that I really like your videos. You're such a sweet, calm woman and it's refreshing to watch and hear you talk. Thank you very much. Now the thing is, I have to choose a career. I love arts, I love social sciences. Now I'm feeling a bit more inclined towards social work more than anything else because I hate ignoring reality and I believe that we all need to find solutions to problems and take action on them. But I'm also scared because I'm a sensible person and I tend to get angry and sad when I have to face problems that I cannot do anything about, because that's just how the world works. So I'm scared that studying social work might start to hurt me too much to the point where I won't be able to see good things in the world and then become really stressed out and frustrated. That's my biggest fear right now. Would you recommend this career to a person like me? Do you feel that dealing firsthand with these social problems is stressful and not well appreciated? Thank you so much. Also, I know I can also help with art, but sometimes I feel like it's not enough. Sorry for such a long comment. No, it's okay. Alright, so I guess basically she's asking, she tends to get angry and sad pretty easily. She wants to know if that would interfere with becoming a social worker. I think there's not necessarily a black and white answer to this. I think social workers don't necessarily have a particular personality, in my opinion, but I think you need to be able to manage your emotions to some extent in order to be a social worker, and you need to have your own personal problems in control to some extent as well. I think it's really good that you actually recognize that this is your personality and you're curious to know that will that affect your work as well. And I think it just really depends, like there's strategies that you can put in place so that you're not taking on other people's stresses, because at the end of the day you're a social worker, but it's still work and you need to be able to disconnect from that kind of idea of supporting someone once you're out of work. You know what I mean? Like when you're at work, you're there to support them, but at the end of the day it's important to be able to just leave work at work. So there is strategies around managing it, and so long as you're aware that this is your personality type, I think that that's the main thing, because then that way you can put in strategies to manage that and you can be able to keep the line between you know, work and your personal life really clear and obvious, so that you know you're not taking on too much after work. So yeah, I don't think it's impossible for you to be a social worker. I think it can be, but you just need to continue to be aware of yourself and how you respond to different things. Supervision is really important. You need to make sure that you're working in a very supported environment as well. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Next person, how do you get through placement? Her name is Victoria Worsley, by the way. She asks, how do you get through placement financially and emotionally? I work full-time, study full-time and live out of home. I will have enough savings to get me by during the first placement, but I'm stressed out about work letting me come back after I have essentially had 3 months of work without pay. I am permanent and in our contracts they have to be flexible with study. Okay, so Victoria, when I studied social work and I did my placement, I was working casually, so, and I still lived at home, so it was a little bit easier for me. So I was able to do paid work on the weekend and do my placement full time. So it might be a matter of having to negotiate with your placement people so that you can work instead of doing full-time with them, you can do a couple of days a week and then do a couple of days at your paid job as well. There would have to be a lot of negotiation as well, but you know, I really get it. It's very difficult. Like for me, I was doing placement Monday to Friday and then working paid work on the weekend. So it was like no break. And yeah, I tried to take advantage of like my time at placement though, because I had quite a bit of downtime. So I used that for assignments and stuff like that. And that helped to minimize the stress on me. But yeah, you probably just have to try and negotiate where you can so you don't have to completely take time off your paid work. And then you can continue to do both. But it is a really difficult time, and it's really hard to even do any kind of self-care or take time out, because it's just, you're just going at it 24/7. So it's just one of those things that you just have to bite the bullet and get through, but you know, it'll be done before you know it. So yeah, but I really think it's unfair that we don't get paid for placement. I think even if we're getting $1 per hour, like we'll still have like a pretty good amount at the end. So I don't know. Anyway, next question. Maddie Elise asks, I'm only 14 and I'm thinking of trying to become a social worker when I'm an adult, or really just something that has to do with social work. Do you have any advice for me, a tiny little freshman in high school, that may help me in the future? Hi Maddie. Oh my gosh, you're 14 and you already know what you want to do. That's really cool. Like, wow, when I was 14, I don't know what I was thinking about, but definitely wasn't thinking about becoming a social worker. But yeah, I think that, what advice do I have for you? I think that it's really great that you have some clarity around where you want to go. I don't know, I think just keep your options open, and you know, if there's certain subjects that you feel like if you take at high school will benefit you in the social work degree in the future, then you know, maybe consider those whilst you're still in high school, and then that way by the time you get to uni you already have a pretty good solid understanding of social work and or the things that might come up when you start practicing social work. But I think it's really great that you kind of have a direction around where you want to go in the future. So good on you. The next person, I am with a scarf, that's the name. Okay. Can someone become a social worker if they have social anxiety or mental illnesses like BPD? Like, I guess that's bipolar disorder. Once I talked with a social worker and she said to me that there are people that have the inner qualities to become a social worker and there are people that don't have them. I felt so discouraged when she said that. She basically was saying you need to have those qualities. You can't learn them, and if you don't have them, you can't do the job. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think at the end of the day, social worker is still a career, and there's some skills you need to possess, and you know, with skills you can always learn them even if you don't have them. I think most social workers tend to have certain qualities, like, you know, they tend to be quite empathic, quite caring and stuff like that, but I think that's most people anyway. It's just that some people are able to show it more than others, so it's inside you can't tap into it. In regards to having social anxiety and mental illnesses, I think that needs to be managed to some degree before you can start practicing as a social worker, because you don't want it to become about you when you start working with other people, and that's easy to do. So I think your bipolar or social anxiety needs to be managed to some degree before you can become a social worker. And it can be an advantage as well, because some of the people that you might be working with may be experiencing the same things that you have in the past or you're currently experiencing, so you might be better able to support them. But you need to be in a good space yourself in order to be able to you know, support other people. So yeah, and you know, there's no perfect social workers. We all have like our own issues and stuff like that, and that's why I always emphasize that if you're going to be a social worker, you need to be in a very supported environment, and supervision is very important, and self-care as well. Like, it's not one of those jobs that you can just do and not take self-care seriously, or work with like co-workers that are bitches, because you just burn out, you know. So yeah. The next question is from Just Joy. I'm a student in school. I'm looking at courses to do. I really want to be a social worker, but I want to know honestly how and what were your first thoughts? Be brutally honest. I'm not sure. So are you asking me what were my first thoughts when I started studying social work, or when I started practicing it? When I first started studying social work, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, but that wasn't necessarily about the course. It was more about the university structure, because it's completely different to high school. Like, you're basically so independent. Like, there's no teachers to that are on your neck trying to get you to do assignments or trying to get you to understand things. Everything you have to take your own initiative for. So I was like a bit lost in the first couple of months, but over time, yeah, I kind of understood that it's just a completely different structure compared to high school. So and regarding what my first thoughts were regarding the actual work, I think because I started, my first social work job was in a residential home with young people. And prior to that, I had done youth work in a residential home with young people. So it wasn't too much of a surprise. I kind of knew what to expect and stuff like that. So yeah, it was fine, you know. But I think maybe if I had been put in like a different role that was completely different to working with young people, then I might be a bit overwhelmed. But in saying that, even though I kind of knew what to expect and stuff like that, I was still a bit lost. I was like, so what am I doing today? What's my job? You know, because it's not like if you're working in, let's say you sell stuff at Woolworths or something. You're at the counter, people come, you scan, they pay you. You kind of know what to expect. That's what you're doing throughout the 8 hours. But as a social worker, you're a professional now. So you get to design your day how you want it to be. There's not really things that are like already pre-organized that you have to come and do. So that was a bit of a shock. I was like, okay, how am I going to structure my day? What am I going to do? And that's why I definitely encourage like supportive environment again. So you need a really good supervisor, especially if you're a new person. They need to guide you around what you can do, what your job's going to be about and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that helps. Linda Builder asked, us being a first year student in social work, my question is how do I stay on top of the assessment content that is barely taught in lectures and tutorials? Oh my god, that's funny, because I actually just spoke about like feeling like what the hell is going on, and you know, a lot of the responsibility is on you when you're studying in university. So you know, it's up to you to get assignments done or not if you want. So it's interesting that you asked me this. How do you stay on top? Oh my god, I feel like I wasn't the best uni student, to be honest. But I think you would have to pre-plan as much as you can. I'm not sure what it's like at your university, but at my university we had like a unit outline that was given to us at the beginning of every course. So you sort of had an idea about what kind of assignments you're going to be doing and what kind of topics will be explored in this particular course and stuff like that. So maybe pre-planning and trying to make sure you give yourself at least a week or two before assignments, just so you can do as much research as you can. Because yeah, I just found that a lot of the stuff was left up to you. You had to do your own research and find answers to questions and stuff like that. And that's why I didn't really see the point of lectures and stuff, because I was like, I actually don't really understand anything you're talking about. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, you'll probably have to pre-plan and just try and stay as organized as you can, especially if you're working outside of, you know, your course. Okay, so Miguel asked, what can one do now if they're interested in social work? Example, if they are just working on their associate's degree or end an AA and working on a BA. Sorry, Miguel. I think that's probably American terms you're using there, because I have no idea. BA, I assume, is like a bachelor's degree, is it? I don't know. You would have to ask me this in a different video. I'm so sorry. I don't understand what you're asking me, because I don't know what AA and BA means. Okay. The last question is from Jordan J. He or she asked, what is your best advice for student social workers who are about to go on their final placement? I have already had a voluntary placement, and my last placement is statutory, which I'm really happy about. It will be an adult placement. However, at the moment, I'm unsure what department in adults it will be. I'm really nervous, and I feel that I'm doubting myself and my ability. Any advice on how to deal with this? That's a really good question, Jordan. I think that you need to just recognize that you're a student and it's okay not to know. You wouldn't know everything. Even when you've graduated and you're starting to work, like to do paid work, you won't know everything. And that's the kind of mentality you need to go with. And you need to just ask questions. And if you don't know, it's okay. Let your supervisor know that you don't know. How do you do this? What can you do? And they know you're a student. They can't expect you to know everything. So it's okay to not know. And this is something that I struggled with at that time as well, and that's why I say it's a really good question, because I just felt like I had to know everything, because it's like, oh, final placement, or oh, you've been recruited for this job, you should know everything. But that's the reality, is you won't know. And now, I mean, I've been practicing for 4 years now and I still don't know everything, but it's just getting comfortable with asking and not feeling like that's a reflection that you don't know anything or you're not ready to practice as a social worker. It just means that you don't know this particular thing and you're asking, and any good supervisor should be able to provide support to you rather than make you feel shitty about not knowing. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I think I've answered everything. There were 11 questions in total. Miguel, if you can break down your question to me on a different video or something like that, then I'll provide a response to it. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I hope you have found it helpful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, I guess I'll see you in my next video. Bye.